pretty no more.
Considered by many to be the pinnacle of Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro's collaboration, Raging Bull, released in 1980,
The Bronx Bull, the Raging Bull. Let's hear for the great Jake LaMotta, ladies and gentlemen.
is an unflinching masterpiece. Though often difficult to watch, it is an intense exploration of a deeply flawed man. Here are the top 10 weird but true facts. Be sure to stick around to the end for a bonus fact.
You won and they robbed you, they're miserable because their mother's taking up the fucking ass, that's why.
Number 1, in 1978, Martin Scorsese found himself at a personal low. His previous film, New York, New York, had failed at the box office, and he was struggling with a dangerous addiction that nearly cost him his life. During his recovery, Robert De Niro visited him, urging him to turn his life around and tackle a new project centered on a boxer's turbulent life. Many believe that De Niro's intervention not only saved Scorsese's life, but also reignited his passion for filmmaking. Number 2, when real-life Jake LaMotta watched the film, he was moved to tears. Realizing for the first time the depth of his own flaws, he turned to Vicky LaMotta and asked, "Was I really like that?" She replied, "You were worse." Number 3, much of the film unfolds through LaMotta's flashbacks, but for the present-day scenes, De Niro needed to portray a heavier, less fit version. De Niro began an intense food binge, transforming from 160 to over 215 pounds within 4 months by dining at top restaurants across France. He developed rashes on his legs, and Scorsese grew concerned about his friend's health, noting that De Niro's labored breathing sounded similar to Scorsese's own asthma attacks. Number 4, in preparation to play Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, Robert De Niro trained side by side with the legendary boxer himself. For months, De Niro threw himself into intense physical training to transform his physique, ultimately stepping into the ring for real. He even fought in 3 actual boxing matches in Brooklyn and walked away victorious in 2 of them. Number 5, to build a genuine sense of brotherhood for their roles, Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci didn't just rehearse. They actually lived and trained together before filming even started. This intense preparation forged a real bond, and ever since, the two have shared a close and lasting friendship. If you're enjoying this content, please support the channel by hitting the like button. Thanks. Now back to the countdown. Number 6. LaMotta's first bout in the movie is against Jimmy Reeves, a good light heavyweight. During the fight, LaMotta absorbs a lot of loud, brutal punches, but he doesn't go down, even though he loses the fight. In real life, LaMotta was known for his ability to stay on his feet, even when taking a brutal beating. The sounds of the punches, though, are pure Hollywood, produced by the smashing of melons and tomatoes. Number 7. By the community pool, Joey introduces Jake to Vicky, a captivating young blonde who soon becomes his second wife. After the film's success, Vicky LaMotta, by then well beyond her days as Mrs. LaMotta, replaced by wives number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, used her newfound fame to land a Playboy pictorial. In November 1981, at age 51, she made waves as the oldest ever pinup. Number 8. The reason the boxers, referees, cornermen, and announcers feel so authentic in Raging Bull is because they are. Scorsese, ever devoted to authenticity, cast real fighters and boxing professionals, including LaMotta's actual cornerman in these roles. Taking it a step further, he used real radio commentary from LaMotta's original fights, believing no actor could truly capture the unique style of those classic announcers. Number 9. It's hard to picture Raging Bull without Joe Pesci's character, but that's exactly how the initial drafts were written. The writer adapted Jake LaMotta's memoir, Raging Bull, My Story, co-authored by LaMotta's friend Peter Savage. In the book, it was Savage who took on many of the actions later attributed to Joey. The script was revised, and Peter was swapped out for Joey. This change later led to controversy, as Joey LaMotta sued for defamation. The film portrayed him committing various unsavory acts, including beating up a local mobster that had actually been done by Savage. Number 10. Joe Pesci had been a comedian and musician off and on since childhood, but he called it quits in the 1970s. His first movie, 1976's The Death Collector, which also featured Frank Vincent, who would later play Salvi in Raging Bull, was a flop. But Robert De Niro happened to see it and was so impressed by Pesci's performance that he pitched him to Scorsese. The two tracked Pesci down and called him at his restaurant to coax him out of showbiz retirement. Now for a bonus fact, the film doesn't mention it, but as a teenager, LaMotta was a petty criminal who first learned boxing while in reform school. Throughout much of his boxing career, he carried the fear that he'd be exposed for killing a local bookie in a botched robbery attempt, convinced that he'd eventually pay for his actions. Later in his career, LaMotta discovered he hadn't killed the bookie as he'd thought, though he had badly injured him. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like and subscribe button and check out more interesting videos on this channel.
You understand that? Live on your mother's cunt! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck your mother!